And I'm also running low on char cloth that I made back at home and brought out. That tin is almost empty, so I'm going to replenish that with some charred natural material. I've just got some punkwood in here. If you don't know what that is, punkwood is decomposing wood that's kind of soft and spongy to the touch. I'm going to char that up in this fire as well once I get it going. So I've got this kind of loosely packed with some char cloth, or sorry, with some punkwood that I'm going to char. Put the lid on that dude. Don't worry, that whole pinhole thing is false. You don't need to worry about that. This is going to be pushing gas out hot enough, and then once it's done, I'll flip it over and cut the oxygen off, and it'll be good to go once it cools. All right, so I'm going to char in this. For me, char cloth is a suburban thing, suburban bushcraft thing. Nothing wrong with it, but there's so much natural material that I can use to char that bringing cotton to the field or charring cloth or cotton in the field doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'll bring this out normally full. I'm down to 1 or 2 pieces in here, so I'll go ahead and use that. This is some charred cotton gauze. Looks like I've got 2 pieces, but you know, down to 1 piece. So I'm going to make some more natural material since I'm out here in the field now. Well, there that goes. Place that inside. Kind of gently scoop that around. And then once it's burning, I'll place it inside. Scoop these up and over. And then what I can do is I can use this to add air to the entire mix until that gets rolling. So now I need to use this fire in order to char. So what I want to do is place my char inside the fire lake. Get it in there good. A little air on there. Now I'm going to add some fuel because over here I'm not getting a lot of heat. So this heat is being transferred through this and back out the backside, and I don't want that. I'll add some fuel to the backside here. And with the char, I want to completely cover it up. I want a good 10 to 15 minutes of heat on that. And then just to get some sustainable coals, I put some thumb-sized stuff on there as well. So I'm going to let this boil. Once it's brought to a boil, I'll go ahead and pull that out, and the rest of the coals I'll pull up around that char so I can char the material. Now I still want this heat to create this char, so I'm going to consolidate that back around my char container, which in this case I'm just using my water bottle nesting cup. Alright, so it looks like I'm getting about all the heat I'm going to get off of that. So I'm going to take that off the fire and I'm going to flip it upside down so that it cuts a lot of the air off. And get that to where it's sitting nice and flat so no air can get in there. And I'm going to let that and the water cool. Let's see how this char came out. That looks pretty good right there. Nice and light and fluffy. All right, so whenever you make char, it's always a good idea to test that char to prove that char works, because when I'm making this, I still have a fire. If for some reason it didn't cook long enough, or if it got too much air in it, it actually burnt up, then that's something I want to find out while I still have a fire to where I can correct it, make new char, what have you. All right, so what I like to do is kind of just like I'm starting a bow drill fire. When I'm using this technique, I'm using the flint or chert, depending on what you have, to actually take small bits of material off of this metal edge. All right, so I'm coming down at an angle like that, and I want those sparks to end up in there, but I don't want to follow through and knock the cup over. So I need this to be stationary because this is what I'm removing material from, so that all the movement's coming from here. You don't want to, you know, lose kind of that momentum by allowing this to move. So I'll lock it in just like I'm doing a bow drill fire. And I'm going to throw sparks down into the cup. I can see one going in there. See if I can fish her out for you. Yeah, I got several going in there. Let's see if you can see those. Alright, so I'm positive that char works. I'll put the lid on it so that I can snuff it back out, and because this has all these holes, I'll just flip it over right there. Alright, I've got a little sun right here. We've got a narrow window before it goes behind the clouds again. Let me try to hit that real quick. Alright, so I'll take my char, and what I can do is put a little out on the lid here. Really only need one big chunk. I want that one. Plenty. There we go. Sun intensifies. What I can do is get that going. Find my spot. Put it up here in the camera where you can see it. Focus that. She's going already. I'm going to put that right in my tinder bundle. What I like to do sometimes is, if I'm worried about the amount of time I have here, is I've got one piece of char going, and because it's natural and I can replenish it out here, is I can throw a few more pieces of char on that and just keep that going longer. So I add a little char to my tinder bundle, gently squeeze that, get some of the new stuff touching the hot stuff, and make sure that you all can see. And then when you're blowing, I'm transferring the heat from the char to the new dry fluffy tinder. Alright, so the wind's going that way. I'm going to turn a little bit. I want to hold this kind of up so the heat can rise, and right now I've got my char burning at the top. I want it to burn at the bottom and go up through. So I'll just flip that over. And there's enough of a breeze to do most of this for me so I can talk. But what I don't want to do is smash this together, for one. And I want to keep my fingers open in the back to allow the air to go through it. Okay? It's actually working pretty well on its own there. But if I want to speed up the process, wind's changing a little. And I just turn that over, let that fire climb, and I'm good. If this starts to go out, I can pick it up and add air. Nothing to it.